a restaurant supervisor for 5 months. Then I was nominated to participate on the management development program by my GM and also my director of F&B, which I'm very glad for that. They really helped me through that. So I was one internal participant on the MDP program. During the program, I was 9 months in a different property. So I was stationary at Hotel de Coronado. Back on the time was only 9 months. So I'm very happy that the program now is a year long because it really helps us to get more experience, for better networking also. It's a great program, which I'm also very happy to be part of. And the more time you can spend it will be better for yourself. So I stayed 9 months at the Dow. After the program, I came back to this property that I am now, the property that I start. I came back as a banquet captain. I stayed as a banquet captain for another year, and then I was eventually promoted for a banquet manager position that I'm holding for 4 months now. I can talk a little bit about my background. I'm originally from Brazil. I've been living in the US for 16 years now. I have a DBA, a Doctor in Business Administration, which I achieved here in San Diego. And I love to play sports. I love the city that I live. There's great opportunities around here. I love to try new foods, experience new restaurants. Um, I believe that's pretty much it. I'm not sure what else should I share, but I think that's pretty much it regarding my career. From the program itself, it was also very, very good experience. It really helped me to move quickly on the career ladder. Everything's been happening very, very fast in these past years, but also it's great for networking. Now that I am part of the banquets team here, we'll be hosting some corporate events with regional directors, people that come from the Hotel de Coronado property, and they all recognize. So it's very, very good to see familiar faces, and they all seem very happy to see where I am right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pietro, for sharing your experiences. Just such an amazing career journey, but also just sharing a little bit more about the program. You will learn quickly. Hospitality is a very fast-paced industry, and so especially throughout this general rotation, you'll have the opportunity to go through all of these different areas and shadow managers and sit in meetings. And so we really encourage you to ask those questions. We really want people that are curious, that are open to learning, because that is what you will be doing every day. So a day in the life of a front office trainee. So you'll have a morning meeting with your team. Often these may be pre-shift meetings, right? So there's a lot of different um, roles kind of within the front office team. So everything from the bellmen to the services, the front desk agents, and the managers. You'll do a checklist. You might run some reports. You might assign ready rooms, make sure that they're ready for check-in for that day. You'll lead morning connects, right, with other management teams. So front office works very closely, for example, with housekeeping. So you may just have any connects with them around what rooms may need to be ready, or if there's any issues with any rooms. You'll do guest checkouts and check-ins. You'll also have the opportunity to submit guest requests and VIP arrivals. So oftentimes, just depending on which hotel you're at, you'll probably always have quite a few VIP arrivals, and so you'll have the opportunity to just make sure, right, that everything is prepared and ready for them. Maybe it's their favorite water, maybe it's a favorite drink or meal that they have. Our Diamond members as well. You'll of course have a lunch break. We are very big here on making sure that your work-life balance is good. And Meredith mentioned our Thrive program as well. So definitely want you to take that lunch break. You'll do some project work, especially as part of the MDP. I know a lot of our kind of MDP hotels really want you to not just get exposure to the hotel, but also some of those initiatives and projects that the hotel may be going on. And as part of the MDP, you will have to complete an impact project, which is really about thinking about what impact do you want to have on the hotel, right? What impact do you want to leave leave on the hotel. And so we've had some amazing impact projects, but you'll have the opportunity to participate in that, as well as Team Member Appreciation Week. We just had Housekeeping Week, Surprise and Delights, as I mentioned earlier. So you'll get a lot of different experiences. And then, of course, you'll have to report to the manager on duty. So why do past trainees love MDP? So we have Tori, who I've met in person, and she's absolutely phenomenal. She was a MDP from this past year at the Conrad DC and is now a senior catering and events manager. She really talks about that the MDP really kind of changed her perspective, right? So she may have come in kind of not really sure what to expect, right? But she really left as a really blooming hospitality professional, and that's really what we want for all of you. We know that you're future hospitality leaders, right? When we select you for this program, and we know that you will thrive, and so you have so much support throughout this program in order to do that, especially if you do decide to apply. So now I will turn it over to Elena, who is going to just talk about where our properties are.
Thank you, Dominique. So here are some of the potential opportunities of where you could potentially work in the MDP for our hotels. So we have hotels clustered all over the East Coast, Midwest, Mountain Central, Texas time zones, and then West Coast and Hawaii. So just some of these really big box hotels, some that are 1,600 plus rooms, others that are a little bit on the smaller scale. It's going to be a little bit more generalized, but these are just kind of a look at some of those properties that you could potentially work at. And we always do our best in this to place you in your preferred region. We ask that you be completely flexible and willing to relocate, but we do try our best to stick to those preferred locations when we're having those conversations. So what does a potential track look like after completing an MDP program? And here is Clay's story. So Clay was a Hilton campus ambassador at Johnson & Wales, and then joined with the Hilton MDP program at the Washington Hilton in the front office space. After completing his program, he did move on at the same property to become an assistant front office manager, and his track continues to go from there. He decided to join in a different function at that point after the front office manager role, and turned into an assistant director of housekeeping at the Hilton Alexandria Old Town. Kind of went back to front office back at the Washington Hilton and joined as a front office manager, and has progressively grown his career since then. Front office manager at a DoubleTree in Washington, D.C., assistant director of front office, and then made his way back to housekeeping and became a director of housekeeping at the DoubleTree Washington, D.C., Crystal City. So what are we looking for in an MDP? We are definitely looking for somebody who is a critical thinker with an analytical mindset, someone who's a dedicated self-starter, and can be flexible, as this is an ever-changing role, and I'm sure Pietro can attest to that. You are going to be jumping around into different tasks, different departments, so you definitely have to be flexible and be that self-starter in that space. You have to solve problems. That impact project is how are you going to make that impact, like Dominique said? So finding something in the hotel that you can enhance or make better for our guests and our team members. Positive, right? This is a hospitality company. We have to be positive team players in this space. And somebody who is passionate about hospitality. And definitely, like I said, the willingness to relocate. We have hotels located all over the United States, and we want to make sure that we are placing our candidates in the roles that are going to help them continue to grow their career in this space. So having that willingness to relocate is an absolute must for this role. Some other things that we are looking for that it would be a requirement for this role would also be that you do not require sponsorship now or in the future with Hilton at this current time. So are you ready to apply? Our applications opened on September 16th, and they are active, and our recruiters are in there reaching out and getting ready to meet everybody. So how the process works, once you go ahead and get your application in, you will be sent a hire view. So the candidates who meet all the qualifications of those roles are going to be sent a hire view, which is going to be a fun little introductory video of how you get to introduce yourself. Tell us about your experience, what you're looking for, and then based off of that, we'll place you with a recruiter in those preferred geographical locations that you submit inside your application. So your options are that East Coast, that Midwest, which includes Texas, and then your West Coast, which also then includes Hawaii. So those are your preferred locations. Does that mean that you have to stay in that has to be the location that you get placed in? Absolutely not. It's just a way that we can pair you with a recruiter so they can best find the next placement for you in this space. Once your hire review is completed, those that are asked to move forward will then meet with a recruiter. The recruiter will reach out, do a phone screening with you where they're going to deep dive into your experience and really truly what you're looking for. And at that place, once the recruiter has qualified, we'll actually get you right out into the hotel and you'll have an interview with one of those properties via Teams, or if you're in a close proximity, maybe even the possibility of going on property and seeing those teams. We are hoping that we can get all offers for these positions out late fall of this year.
Thanks, Elena.
Yeah, of course.
I've gone ahead and opened up the Q&A. You should see it in the middle of your screen at that top bar there. Please start typing your questions in there, and we will use the remainder of the time to call out your questions. You can also connect with Elena and me on LinkedIn. Scan us. The applications are open. They've been open since September 16th. So if you're considering this opportunity, I highly suggest you dive right in there and complete that application as soon as possible. A couple other things to call out for you is if you're thinking about the differences between our program and maybe some other companies, the truth of the matter is ours is not as large as some of the other companies, and here's why. When we accept you into this program, our intent is to keep you. It's not to fill a need for a year. It's to keep you for your career. So consider that, right? We want to identify you now and hope that we offer you the world's best place to work and you thrive in it and you want to stay with Hilton for at least the beginning of your career, if not longer. So consider that. Here we go with the questions. Do you have summer internships for college freshmen for 2025? So coming up at the end of the year? Yes, individual properties do. That's not this program. This program is full-time employment for 12 months and then beyond. So that is not this. Individual hotel properties do. So I would approach that property where you're thinking of working and ask them. I would also tell you that usually those aren't available till more towards the end of the spring. Nobody would be posting those now for next summer at Hilton.
One of the questions was, could you give more insight regarding the process when someone completes the program? For example, is it typically expected that the person in the program stays to work at the hotel they completed the program at, or is the opportunity to work at a different location? Donnie, do you want to handle that one? Or do you want me to?
Yes, sorry, I was just reading through.
You're good. So, you know, obviously, if the opportunity presents itself once your program is completed, absolutely, you are able to stay at your property. And that is always the goal. We would love to try to have our MDP stay at the property that they do their program, but that's not always possible. So that's when you get paired with a recruiter on the other end. So that last 3-month kind of piece of it, you'll get paired with one of my recruiters or one of our ROC recruiters, and they're going to really work with you in terms of resume building, LinkedIn presence, prepping you for that interview, and then work with you as you kind of go through that interview process to be able to post out at a different property and hopefully gain a role there as well.
Awesome. I've got one, Pietro, for you. Sorry, I just clicked off of it. What's been the most challenging thing you've faced while working for Hilton?
I believe for me, what was more challenging was I was coming from a property that has maybe 300 employees and not even 400 rooms to suddenly being in a property with 1,600 employees and double the amount of rooms, right? So definitely the business was way higher than that. And then I really need to dress the shirt as a manager and act as a one. So in the beginning, it is challenging, but really, for me, it was like it's time for me to show my skills and do the best. And I think I did okay because I eventually was able to continue moving up. But that is probably the most challenging. It's a lot of more business, and I think that was the reason they located me to that property, so I could see the amount of volume that you can really create, right, in a big property. But it was a great experience. It was really amazing time over there. I have no regrets at all. I really enjoyed my time over there. I made so much friends, so many professional networking, which is really good for myself.
Awesome. Elena, I'm going to toss you two questions. I'm going to combine them into one. Can you talk about people that are applying that don't have a background in hospitality or business, and then what makes a standout candidate? Like what would make someone stand out when you're interviewing or in the process?
So the best thing about the program is that you do not have to be a hospitality student to be considered. The greatest thing about hospitality is that there's so many functions inside of this company that there's so many opportunities for you to expand outside of that at some point in your role. So no, it's okay that you don't have hospitality or maybe business experience. This is a definitely great opportunity for you to really just gain that experience and knowledge about the hospitality industry and then really grow from there. In terms of what makes a candidate stand out, be yourself. We want to see your true, authentic self in your interviews, because that's just truly who you are, and that's truly what makes Hilton. Everybody shows up every day to be their true, authentic self, and we want to see that when we're in the interview process with you as well. So don't be nervous as you're talking to a recruiter. We have all been in your shoes in some way, shape, or form. Every recruiter on my team has been in operation. So some have been MDPs, some have been, I have a previous executive chef who's a recruiter on my team. We have all been there. So be yourself and don't be nervous. We are very down to earth and just want to hear all about you.
All right. Dominique, do you have a question you were going to tee up?
Not yet. I have been answering all of your questions in the chat. So even if we don't get to your question during the session, know that we are also answering them in the chat as well.
Elena, can you talk about the regions again and kind of how that works?
Yeah.
And about like what you need to answer on the application itself?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So in the application itself, so it's going to have you have those preferred regions, and it gives you 3 options. So East Coast would be anything New York City, Washington, D.C., all the way down to Florida. So that big East Coast region. Midwest would be considered pretty much anything in the middle of the state. So Ohio, New Orleans, Chicago, Texas, Colorado, Las Vegas, that's all considered your Midwest cluster. And then West Coast would be all up your West Coast, California, Washington State, Portland, Oregon's in there, and then Hawaii would also be that. So if you're looking for any of those specific areas, that's kind of how you would break it up. So your big up the coast is the East Coast, West Coast, Hawaii is West Coast, and then anything in the middle is essentially Midwest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will just address the question, how does the relocation assistance work? So you do get relocation assistance for this program. It is a kind of fixed amount that you can utilize to move, or if there's other expenses that you have, you typically will receive that prior to starting the program so that you can move to your hotel location before starting the program.
There you go. There was another one in there that, Pietro, I would love for you to answer. What makes Hilton special to you?
Well, Hilton is the best company to work in the U.S., right? But not just that. I really like the benefits. During the MDP program, I have a personal issue with my house. Unfortunately, my house got flooded, and I had to be out of my house for 3 weeks. And I'm very glad that I was able to stay in all different hotels, paying $35, $45 for 3 weeks. So that really helped me during the time. Also, I made great friends, people that really helped me throughout the career, people that I can reach out if I have any questions, any doubts. It's really a special company to work. Everybody's very friendly. Everybody's passionate what they're doing. People really like to be hospitable and help the guests, help each other. There's this sense of team playing around everybody. So it's really a special company to work for.
Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
We are right about at time. Is there more questions I missed,
There's
Elena?
one more just asking if it's more of a desk job or a hands-on. This is definitely a very hands-on position. You will be rotating throughout all of the departments in the hotel, and you are going to be definitely focused in that function. Pietro can definitely explain, touch on this if need be, but yeah, you're going to be doing a lot. You're going to be running the department in the hotel with one of those leaders and really focusing on that piece of it.
Yeah, I think what is very cool about the part is that, for example, I'm gonna tell a little bit my experience. I spent one entire day with the GM, right, which I would expect to do that before. I had meetings with all the executive committee team. I spent time with all the head directors of other departments, and at the same time, I was fixing air filters on the AC inside the rooms with the engineering crew. So it really opens up your mind. You do a little bit of everything every day, and we're gonna learn a lot from different departments. And there is not a set course that you need to take, right? You're really gonna rotate throughout all the different departments, and it's up to the participants to see which one they see fit themselves later when they're approaching the end of the program, and then to pursue the career. So make sure everybody's happy, right? So for me,
Awesome.
I was always on the F&B, so I opted to continue on the food and beverage department. But I'm pretty sure if I would chose it to go to a different route, everybody would encourage me and help me also to achieve that.
Thank you.
You
I'm a little jealous actually. I think it'd be fun to go back and do all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just one last question I see. Can you just review the interview process again?
Sure.
And
Yeah, my
what that
fellow
looks
just
like?
come through. Yeah, so once you submit your application, you would be asked to do a hire view, which is a video interview, which will ask you a series of questions that you'll be on camera for essentially. Nobody's on the other side, but someone will be watching it after you're done completing it. Once you complete your hire view, those that will be moving on will then be contacted by a recruiter in those preferred regions that you place inside your application, where then you would be having a phone screening with that recruiter. That recruiter will touch on your experience and all of the different pieces of the program and try to really see where the best match is for location, hotel, brand, all of those pieces, and even the programmatic side of it. So say I'm open to anything, food and beverage, housekeeping, or front office. They'll really work with you to see what that best fit is. Those who are going to continue on after that would then meet with one of the potential hotels that they could be placed at, where then they would have an interview with those on-property leaders just to get a really good feel of what that leadership team will also look like and who will be your leaders throughout this program as well. And then once that is completed, we'll make those final decisions on offers, and then anyone moving forward at that point would get an offer at that point.
Awesome. And I'm going to do one more because there's a couple in here. One I saw earlier and forgot to come back to. It's kind of a double whammy, and I think we're wrapping it up. You do not have any educational requirement to be part of this program. So if you are still in school, there was a question, right? It goes August to August, and maybe you're going to be a December graduate. If you think you can handle your last semester of coursework at the same time as being fully employed, so 40 hours a week, sometimes maybe even a little bit more, nights and weekends included, depending on what your schedule is, because it's operational. Hotels operate 365 days a year, so it's 24/7 work. If you think you can flex all that, then you completely can. A couple weeks ago, we had a different group on here for the info session, and one of the prior MDPs was in school full-time and working full-time. So it's possible. That's up to you to make that decision. And if you're somebody who's doing a career swap, there is no degree requirement. Anybody can apply. Okay, so it's really about that light and warmth of hospitality and really being passionate in wanting to be part of future management on hotel properties. So in the hospitality industry is really what we're looking for. That's the only true requirement to be part of this program. So I encourage you to apply, and those recruiters will take a look at it. I think that's it for our time tonight. Pietro, I especially want to thank you for joining us with your very, very, very busy life you have going on, both while you're at work and at home. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can read more about it there too. Please go to our website. Maybe we can quickly throw the website in the chat. It's jobs.hilton.com, and you can find this program. There's all kinds of additional information in there that would give you a little bit more details. It takes a couple clicks sometimes to get through to it, but you can find it, and there's more there. And I encourage you, and I thank you for your time. We know we're not the only company doing a program like this, but I will tell you that ours, of course, is the best, but I'm not saying that because they're paying me to. I'm truly saying that from the bottom of my heart. There's an incredible team. We only showed you who's here tonight. There are teams of people behind this program and teams of people supporting each other inside of Hilton. So I hope you enjoyed your time tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.